We'll put it on the Avalon School YouTube channel for others later. Okay.
All right, Maggie, take her away.
All right, welcome to our annual meeting of the Avalon School Board. My name is Maggie Duffy. I am one of the board members, and I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, if that's possible. It's going to be a little hard.
I am Gretchen. I got my audio and my video separated. I am the language arts advisor at Avalon, high school advisor, and enrollment coordinator. Tim, I'm throwing it to you.
Perfect. My name is Tim Quayle. I'm a high school advisor and one of the program coordinators. And on the board, I serve as the treasurer. Darlene, how about you?
I am Darlene Fry. I'm a first-year board member, and I have a daughter who's in the 11th grade at Avalon. And I'm going to throw it to Maggie.
As I said before, I'm
Maggie
Maggie
already
Duffy.
went. Sorry.
Yeah, but I
Sorry,
didn't mention I was
Tracy.
a math teacher, so.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I'll give it to Michael.
Oh, I'm Michael Romandi, also first-year board member and currently chair of the board. And I will throw it to Nora.
Hey, I'm Nora. I'm a shared advisory with Tim in the high school. I'm a social studies teacher, and I sit on the equity committee on the board. I'll pass it to Tracy.
Hey, I'm Tracy Hilke. I'm also a first-year board member, and I have a daughter in 11th grade and a son in 7th grade. And I will send it to Becca. She had to step out, so.
Carrie, do you want to describe your role on the board?
Sure, I'm Carrie Bakken, and I'm one of the program coordinators and a social studies teacher at Avalon, and I'm an ex officio board member. So we do not have a director at Avalon, as you know, and I take on that ex officio role just for board meetings. I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start off here with a video that I made of some staff members talking about what made them proud to be part of this community this year. After that, we'll do some highlights from Nora. We'll have a treasurer's report. We'll have the world's best workforce and strategic plan reports, an enrollment outlook from Gretchen, and then we'll also be launching the election soon. So should I share my video of this, Tim? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with this one. Hopefully you can let me know if it's not sounding.
I don't think it's sounding.
Aha. Okay, well then I'll.
Hey Avalon, this is Gretchen Sage Martinson, enrollment coordinator, language arts advisor. She, her, hers are my pronouns. One thing I'm super proud of being part of this community is how we pivoted on a dime last March. We found out, I think on a Sunday, that we weren't coming back to school, and by Wednesday we had it going online. 48 hours, we had a school moved from in-person to online. And then once we started, the opportunities we've had for connection with our students. I know all my students, I've met all my new students and know them well. And our program is so individualized that it really worked online, and we kept these kids engaged.
Hi, I'm Maggie. I work in the high high school math department at Avalon School. And this year and every year, I'm proud to be part of this community at Avalon, especially because of the staff willingness to meet students where they are and work with them to grow. The curriculum is really centered on the students, which is great. And I, as a teacher, also feel empowered to move curriculum and schedules in ways that best suit the community or the students' needs. I really do feel valued at Avalon. The value in our students and our staff is why I love working at Avalon.
Hi, I'm Darlene. I'm an Avalon school board member, and my pronoun are she, her, and hers. And the thing I'm most proud of Avalon community about this year is remaining a caring community. And all that we've had going on this year, I think that they have done a great job at being who they are and who we chose them to be as a school for my child. So I'm proud of them being a caring community. Take care.
Hi, my name is Kevin Ward, and I'm a high school advisor. And what makes me proud of working at Avalon this year? I just appreciate how much people have tried to engage with what's actually going on in students' lives, what's going on in the world. I think staff have pushed very hard to try to get all of us to do that all the time. And I think that this has been exceptionally a challenging year. And I still feel like people are working together and trying to support each other to be present and to be supportive of students. And that makes me proud to be here.
I'm Chris Peterson. I'm he, him, or they, them. I'm an educational assistant. I am proud that even though the year was so difficult for people, they still came together and they still learned because they want to learn. And I'm proud that Avalon is that kind of place that allows people to do that. I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, my name is Chris Jandro. I'm the middle school science teacher, and I am the athletic coordinator and coach for sports. You see him pronouns. Something that makes me proud to be a part of this community this year is everybody's commitment to figuring out what's best for students and keep students at the center as we have gone through the year and trying to make decisions about what to do and what to teach and how to teach and where to teach and all those sorts of things. And I think it's also been great, all the opportunities that we have given students to do hands-on work, even during distance learning. And opportunities to come in and play sports and do things like that, but making sure that we're doing it safely so that families feel comfortable sending their kids. So I'm very proud to be part of the Avalon community because we've always kept students at the center.
Hey, I'm Regina, she, her. I teach middle school math and STEM, and I'm a middle school advisor. Why I'm proud to be part of this community this year is that we've approached this year with compassion and caring and humor to keep our community together, and makes me proud.
What has made me proud to work at Avalon this year is the students. They have been so adaptable and flexible, and the most important thing is they have done an amazing job of welcoming new students into our advisories and making advisory fun, even online. So I so appreciate all of them.
Hi, my name is Sarah Wallace, and I use she, her pronouns. I am a middle school special education teacher, and one thing that has made me proud to be part of the community this year is just the incredible collaboration and cooperation and communication that I've experienced from families. They're very, very committed to their students' education, and they have let me into their homes and introduced me to their pets and answered a million questions and helped problem solve all kinds of crazy technology issues. So just have a lot of gratitude for that. They are inspiring.
right.
Thank you, Maggie, for putting that together. We're going to proceed now with kind of the rest of our meeting. And so let me just start here. So I'm going to put the link to this in the chat, and we can make sure it gets out later as well. Actually, Gretchen, do you mind throwing the link in the chat while I'm sharing? That would be awesome. So here's our agenda as Maggie previewed. A quick welcome, and then we'll go into the treasurer's report. We'll look at enrollment, run through some achievement highlights for the year, and then some reporting on our strategic plan. And then Gretchen is going to launch our board election for next year. So really briefly, but our financials remain really sound. It's our 20th year as a charter school, and so this third bullet, our fund balance, has built up to a really healthy 39% as the projected to end of the year. Our 3-year projections beyond this year also remain pretty healthy. Our enrollment at 250 is what some of these numbers are based on, and we don't project, these are without trying to grow at all. And so at 250, our fund balance should remain strong. Our annual operating budget is just over $4 million at this point. Some future considerations we have looked at, since our fund balance is healthy, the board is looking at ways to continue to spend that and make sure that the money gets in front of kids and used to serve kids best. One consideration is some capital improvements, including a student kitchen space where we could do classes and projects around cooking. So not the lunch program, but a separate kitchen space is something that we are looking into. It's very brief, but we're going to move to enrollment with Gretchen.
Okay, so our goal this year was 250 students. I didn't know how that was going to go because our enrollment season got smacked last year. March is usually when we're doing the bulk of our tours. But we started just a little bit low, 245, a little bit low in the high school. The middle school, we had extra kids in the middle school, so we let some extra middle schoolers in to get us up right away to 250, and then continue to take high schoolers until that was full. So we did end the year at the year's not over, but we are currently at 251 students. So right above where we wanted to be. Our goal for next year, like as Tim said, is once again 250. We had a lottery this year just for our 7th and 8th graders. We had just the right amount of students to let in for 6th and the high school. Our 6th graders have dipped a little bit now, as have our 7th graders. So if we started school right now, we would have enough students to start. It's a little extra full in the high school and a little under full in the middle school. So the opposite of last year. I'm fully confident that we will start at that goal of 250. That is my report.
Thank you. I would pass to Nora to run through some highlights.
Awesome. In the chat, I'm also sharing a document with you because I'm going to talk quickly. And if you would like to read more in detail, you're welcome to go to that Google Doc. And I think we'll probably add it with our presentation later on. So I'm going to talk about the ins in the building, some of the great successes this year in the building. One of the things you can go to right now is the Project Showcase, which is featured on our website. And in collaboration with the Minnesota Learner Center Network, we featured 35 student projects, individual and group projects that is actually growing. So it's cool to go back to it on occasion. It's important to publicly display our best student work, especially during this year. And this is used not only by our own students, but it provides inspiration to students when they go to that Project Showcase and see their classmates' work. And also we've been using it with other schools and in the MLCN network. This is a commitment from us to go beyond and publicly display our student work. Sports were a huge highlight this year. So Chris mentioned that he runs a sports program. We had 31 students playing at least one sport, and many of them played in multiple sports throughout the year. We had 15 athletes in cross country, 12 skiers this winter, and 24 ultimate Frisbee players. this spring for a total of 51 seasons, and that's 10% of the student body. So this is a growing program, and it was a great way to safely socially distance during the pandemic and get outside, get some exercise. The middle school STEM program this year spent Fridays working on their hands-on STEM kits throughout distance learning, and they continued during hybrid. They started by planting sprouts in September, making masks in October, digging in the center of the earth in November, and creating a motion stop film in December. They continued in 2021 by creating secret dinosaur islands in January. And then testing water quality in February, creating a road trip in March, and they'll finish out this year by building birdhouses. They're committed to the goals that were laid out by the student-centered learning part of the Avalon strategic plan. One of the other features of our program this year was our strong commitment to social emotional learning. This was a new program that we offered because of COVID and distance learning. We offered this in both the high school and the middle school, and it was flexing with the demands of the hybrid and distance learning. So this program focus allowed for students to continually connect with each other and adults throughout the year in interest-based experiences. And this flexibility also offered the opportunity for staff to adjust between the hybrid and the distance learning. And it was a way for us to figure out the kinks before we brought many more students in the building. One highlight includes Lauren was supporting students in a solar boat build, and they'll compete in a statewide competition at the end of May. Another thing that happened was a weekly career exploration. This was a new part of our program this year. 25 experts, many of them Avalon alumni, connected with students on a weekly Zoom call that addressed career exploration. And this was a program that Gretchen led and supported, and students logged in weekly to talk with experts in different fields. And it was a way to feature our alumni and have our students connect with people outside the building. Another awesome part of our in-program was that we hired an Indigenous student connections facilitator. Her name is Victoria Johnson, and she collaborates with 20 students who identify as Native and are working to build a new and energized Indigenous Student Alliance. They are currently meeting on Wednesdays, as well as individual meetings with Victoria. They're already exploring beading projects. They've collaborated with the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls Awareness Campaign, and they are currently planning our first ever Avalon powwow that will happen on June 10th. You all are welcome to it, and that will happen before Avalon's graduation on the afternoon. It's there that they will also honor 3 current and a recent Avalon graduate. So out of the building, things that happened, our academic decathlon team won 3rd at nationals this year in the small school division with the topic of the Cold War. We fielded 2 teams with 21 students, and we want to thank the parents and community members, Jill Stever-Zeitlin and Jill Howell, in addition to advisor Joe Sullivan for their support of this team. We had a student who competed in moot court this year, and that was an online national competition. So Lex Knox made it into the semifinals, and that's a project that we have in collaboration with the William Mitchell Hamlin Law Center or Law School. And finally, so those were things that happened outside the building. Finally, we really, even though we're in a time of hybrid and distance learning, we are still committed very much to bringing and supporting relationships with outside communities and bringing them to our students at Avalon. And there was a lot of creativity that happened this year because of that. We had our 3rd year connection with the McAllister Roundtable, where students collaborated with professors and students at McAllister in the fall, and that was around pandemic, the topic of pandemic. This year, we were able to offer yoga from 2 different organizations, One Yoga and Indigenous Lotus. 34 students participated in that program throughout the year. One student commented on how important they felt in having this as a resource. They also appreciated the check-ins at the beginning of class to share areas that they'd like to focus on. And finally, one of the cool programs that we're just starting up is we're building a relationship with Walker West Music Academy. Avalon High School students are starting a music keyboarding class with Walker West, which is a St. Paul Rondo neighborhood music school that's committed to centering their music and practice in the African American cultural experience. So we hope this relationship will continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll shift now. So Avalon Schools World's Best Workforce Update in our strategic plan. So the state of Minnesota mandates that the schools report on these 5 goals as part of the world's best workforce. The first 2 are tailored towards elementary schools, so we don't report on those. But the second 3 are goals that we work towards. And so our plan to work towards these goals comes through our strategic plan. So our entire curriculum, we believe, works towards these 3 goals. So starting last year, we spent some time and revisited, actually after 20 years, our mission and our values. And those are posted on that link there and then on our website as well on the About page. And so we did revamp and just tweak. It's very similar to our old one, but we more explicitly labeled all of our values. And then we also spent a good deal of time coming up with our strategic plan for the next 5 years. And it started this fall. And so in that process, we identified 4 kind of pillars that all work together, and then broke into committees as a staff of 30 plus at this point to work towards these goals. And so the 4 pillars are student-centered learning, and you'll hear lots of stuff that Nora's already mentioned, because a lot of the work comes out of these committees. So the student-centered group is really looking directly at our program with kids. What is the curriculum? What are the learning experiences that we're putting in front of kids and asking kids to, or allowing kids to experience? Whole Child Support is a group that is really looking at our school as a whole, and are we supporting the individual student and their varied needs, and working to meet that. And so a huge push of that group, as we'll see, is moving our school towards a more trauma-informed center. The teacher-powered group looks at our governance structure. As Carrie mentioned earlier, we do not have a director or any administration. And so this group is keeping an eye on that governance structure and how can we better work together as a ever-growing team. And the last one is the community connected group. And they're looking at how to foster community both within our building among students and among staff, and then also looking at our presence in the community as a whole. How do we, one, bring in community into our building, and then how do we get our kids out into the community so that our learning doesn't stop at the door? So a few highlights, knowing that this year many teachers were very busy working on distance learning and some shift in models. But some highlights that came out of the student-centered learning group, many which Nora mentioned. So there are hands-on project kits, not just in the middle school, but in the high school as well. We had kids at home building ukuleles, doing all sorts of science experiments. There was exercise equipment that went out to students. There were many book clubs with physical books, and we would gather on Zoom and read that way, and a lot more. They also worked hard to bring some of those projects into our learning management system, which is called Headbrush, so that kids could more easily access kind of some template projects that included a lot of these hands-on activities. The Student Center group also led us through some curriculum audits to look both as project-based learning, but as the seminars that we're offering with an eye towards inclusion, belonging, and with an equity focus. The Whole Child group really looked at, as I said, moving us more and more towards a trauma-informed center. And so they led some professional development and are looking at next year to continue that and to move our staff in that direction and give us the support that we need. They also looked at looking at our schedule in our building with an executive functioning lens. So how can we better serve kids that are struggling there? And many of those supports are great for all students. And so they led us through some improvements there. And then they also had an eye towards our schedule. And so not just in the building, but when students are at home as well, how can we help students build in what they term brain breaks, screen-free time? How can we incorporate body movement into the student day? Especially as so much of our year has been on a screen and dictated that way. The teacher-powered group, a few highlights. They're really keeping an eye on staff mental health, right? So this is the group that is looking at our governance structure. And so quarterly intentional check-ins, one-on-one time to really reach out and to connect with staff. I think when we're all at home, I think one of the things that was hard to replicate is the camaraderie that we do feel in the building, and that keeps so many of our staff coming back year to year. They also similarly looked at parts of our actual staff meeting to better support and to ground staff, and often starting meetings with a grounding exercise, making sure everybody's present in the moment and getting individual teachers the support that they need. And they also looked at our calendar as well and incorporated a few flex days that gave staff a little breathing room to incorporate all the extra work that came with shifting our entire program to distance learning and then back again. So we had about 3 of those this year. The Community Connected group really worked hard to and continues to work hard to better and more deliberately receive and implement feedback, and specifically seeking out our families of students of color in our building and being as intentional as possible with the hope of creating groups that meet more regularly as the years go on. This year we started with individual one-on-one phone calls, with specific surveys, and then with a hopeful small group that will meet in the coming weeks. All right, so it's a brief rundown of some highlights of our strategic plan. It is linked there and on our website if you're curious to know more details about big picture goals where we're going for the next 4 years. And then linked also is our more explicitly labeled mission and values that we revisited last year. So I would encourage anybody that's interested to take a look. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass to Gretchen for our board election reminder.
So while you were sitting at this meeting, if you are a current board member, staff member, or have a student in the building, you should have received an email requesting you vote in our election. And guess what? 3 people have already voted. So that's exciting. And so the election runs for a week, so you have time to get to it with your busy schedules. It shouldn't take you more than a minute. So hopefully we need at least 10% of our population to vote, to vote. So you'll keep getting reminders from me. Otherwise, that's what we got for our annual meeting. We really appreciate you coming and stepping in to hear about how things went this very, very, very weird year. Next year marks Avalon's 20th year of existence. And so we're hoping it's a smoother one than this one. If you have any questions, you can stick around to ask them. Otherwise, we just really thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you all in person very soon. Any questions? I will be here ready to answer. Do we need to adjourn?
We should adjourn. But Gretchen, when will the election results be announced?
They will be announced next Wednesday, or whenever our next newsletter goes out next week.
And when do the polls close?
The polls close next Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Anybody got any questions out there? This is my favorite part of the Zoom world. This is kind of a quiet, awkward time.
Gretchen's good with wait time.
I am good with wait time. All right. If no questions, we'll see you in person soon. See you all. Good to see everybody.
You think so? Really?
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
I think I can end it, right?
It's
think
like
you
the
can
end
have
of a
this.
class. It's like the end of a class and you're like, did you
I'm
fall
taking them
asleep?
out.
Bye, Carrie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.